Hi, my name is Lewis Beck, and I'm here at 343 Labs in New York City. And today I'm going to talk to you about some creative ways that you can record your guitar. So we're just going to jump right into this, and the first thing that we're going to talk about is something called double tracking. So double tracking is a very, very simple concept. What it is I'm going to play in a rhythmic groove, right? So I have a chord progression that I prepared. So that's it, and it's going to cycle back around. Now, what double tracking is I'm going to record myself playing that groove, maybe for just 8 bars or so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop, pan it all the way to the left or the right, and I'm going to record it again, except this time I'm going to pan it to the opposite side. And what this does is it actually creates a much more lush and slightly imperfect style of width that sounds really, really pleasing. And we're going to get into some more interesting details in terms of how to accomplish this in a more effective way. So I created this beat to play to. And just for the sake of really, so we can hear what the benefits of double tracking are, I'm going to use a pick for this. I wouldn't normally necessarily do that. I prefer for this style of groove to use my thumb. But you get more rhythmic variation and kind of random tonalities by using a pick. So I'm going to go ahead and stick to the pick. So I'm just going to hit record and we're going to jump right into this. All right, so I'll just real quick listen back to what I have, and I'm going to see, I might not use the whole section. I think there were 2 particular times around that I thought that sounded really good. Yeah, so I'll just go from 7 to about... Yeah, so I'll go from 7 to 15, which will be a nice clean 8 bars. And so what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to take this and pan it all the way to the left. So we just hear it over there. Now, you can't necessarily see this, but on my guitar, right, I have my tone switch turned all the way to the left, which on this guitar means that it's going to be rounder and less sharp. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it all the way to the right now. So it's going to be the most open setting on the guitar. Versus, right? And the reason I'm doing this is actually for, when it comes to double tracking, one of the most effective things is that to use slightly opposed tonalities on opposite sides of the mix. And the reason for this is that if it sounds too similar, it might become what's called super mono, where your ear just hears these overlapping tonal similarities as being in the center as opposed to being out wide. So I'm going to go ahead and just record again. So I'll go ahead and again, I'll just go and listen back and see which parts I like the most, which takes were in there the best. So I think those two work perfectly fine. And now, the thing that you're hearing immediately, right, is we have this really nice wide image, and it still sounds like it's one guitar tone. Except now what's happening is you might notice that it's fading a little bit from left to right. Sometimes the right gets a little louder, sometimes the left gets a little louder. And that's actually not a problem. I did notice that the right sometimes tends to dominate just a little bit, so I'll turn it down just a smidge, maybe just 1 decibel, right? So we listen back to that now. Right, this is the type of stereo imaging and motion that a plugin could only dream of accomplishing. We're getting really, really, really nice, complex imperfections and motions, right? And that's all we need. 2 guitars, that's totally fine, right? Now, you also could do it where you could actually use thumb style playing and then do pick style playing on the other side. But for our purposes, we're gonna just keep it like that. So I'll go ahead and just label this rhythm L and rhythm R. All right. So the other thing I'll talk about real quick is some cool processing that you can do with guitars. So of course, right now we're going DI, right? We're directly inputting into the interface. And it's a very, very different proposition than recording with an actual microphone. But the thing is that you can do exactly what I just did with a microphone, and it'll work exactly the same way. I do it all the time, and it sounds great. But what we can do with double tracking is we can get a little creative with our processing. I already have some chorus on each of them. What I'm going to do now is I'll take a phaser and I'll put it on the right side after the chorus. And I'll press play and just adjust it a little bit until I find something that I like. So now we're getting some nice weird motion on the right side. Right, so that's without the phaser. You can really hear it now when we put on space mode. Maybe roll back to dry wet. So that sounds pretty nice. Now I'll take some saturation. I'll take the saturator, I'll put it on the other side. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to try to imitate the effect of overdriving a preamp, which is actually a subtly pleasant sound for a guitar. So just that little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and roll back the dry wet. So I just get a little bit of the scratchiness on top, right? I don't want it to overwhelm the signal. I still want it to be full-bodied and clear. So we listen to those now. Got to turn down the left a little to compensate. We're getting a really colorful, full image that's moving a lot, which is great. So now I'll take some reverb and put it on the left side. Only the left side. And so I'll have it be like no stereo. I'll have it be folded to mod. So I'm going to put some reverb on to the left side, and I'm going to have it make sure its stereo image is folded completely to the center so it doesn't bleed at all. And I'll have this be a kind of subtle amount of reverb. So that sounds nice. So there's a little bit of imbalance on purpose, which is sounding cool. At least for my ears, I like that. So now what I'm going to do is, just so you can hear the way that this would actually fit into a recording, is I'm going to just noodle on top of it a little bit. I'm going to throw some reverb on there. Alright, cool. So, just see if that tone works for a sec. I'll practice on how it, right? Alright, yeah, so I think that maybe the reverb is a tad long. So roll it back a little. And I'll have the reverb be a little folded more towards the center. Yeah, so I like that. So now I'll just go ahead and record in, maybe like 8 to 16 bars of just this little improvised playing on top. So now if we hear that play back with everything in context. Sounds fairly vibey. Maybe just to fully fill it out so you get a sense of how that guitar really is sitting there in the frequencies, I'll just quickly put in a bass line. Nothing crazy. Yeah, so I'll just have this little bass line in here. Maybe now just turn down both of these rhythm guitars. So we hear that just by having a couple of really basic elements, we basically have a full record that we can now play around, right? We have space to add some strings or chords or synths in the background, maybe a little bit of vocal. But yeah, that is the basics of double tracking guitar, using the guitar as an instrument for production more than just playing as well. So I hope you found this video helpful. Again, my name is Lewis Beck, and if you enjoyed that tutorial, you can click subscribe below to find more content on our YouTube channel, or you can also visit our website to find out more information about classes and online classes.